Yes, we're sponsored by Squarespace. Today we're doing a bit of entomology, the study of ents. Entomology. Oh. Yeah, entomology is the study of insects. But luckily that's what we're doing today. So after my Nausicaa style toxic jungle video, I thought, it'd be quite cool to make some insects to go with the video, but then I thought at 28mm, they're going to be pretty small. But then I went onto Google and I was researching insects, funny enough. And I came across these entomology frames. And it's where people would catalogue insects on a frame and label them and put who discovered them and whatever, on a frame. A nice frame that you'd probably have all over an old Victorian professor's wall. Or someone who's into steampunk. I thought it would be nice to try something different, away from the terrain making and kit bashing. And maybe, it's nice to do something different, isn't it, YouTube? YouTube shaking its head. I'm going to do it anyway. I hope you enjoy the video. So I decided to include the sketching part of my build in every episode. Now, if you don't like that, please let me know down below. But a lot of people seem to like to watch me draw for some reason. So here you go. It's always a good idea to sketch out before you build. You don't have to be good at drawing. I'm not particularly good at drawing, but it's just, it's the thought process. I get a lot of comments asking where do I get my sketchbook from. I mean, it's literally just a sketchbook. You can find a sketchbook anywhere. But if you want one like this, that the ink and the paint doesn't soak through the paper, then you want a watercolor sketchbook. You'd be surprised how many times people ask me where I get my sketchbook from. It's always that, and there's always this other comment that keeps appearing saying, Bill, you ever going to make that air balloon? No, I never said I was going to make an air balloon. It's some weird fetish that some guy has. He keeps asking me every time. But no, I probably will never make an air balloon now. Yeah, sicko. Oh yeah, I should probably talk about what I'm drawing. As you can see, I'm kind of going along the armoured plate bug look. Because of OMS in Nausicaa Valley of the Wind. They have these armoured plates all over them. So I imagine all the insects are kind of like that. And obviously I want them to fit in my toxic jungle terrain that I made. They're not going to go in there, but in this world I've created, they've come from there. They're going in a frame, which is completely different. It's a weird video, yes, but I want the colours to kind of match that kind of world. Whether it does or not, just stick around and see. So I found this frame in a charity store. I think you call them thrift stores in America because you just have to be so American, don't you? Anyway, it's a shame to destroy some modern art like this, but yep, get out of there, save the shells. And after some extensive research, I found that most of these frames have brown paper in the back, so I stuck some brown paper there. There you go. I didn't research that much. And it's time to interrupt the perfectly timed and edited video with a sponsor message. So this episode is sponsored by Squarespace. Now, if you've ever wanted to make a website and you're not really sure how to do it, Squarespace is the place to go. Look, you get provided with hundreds of templates like these just here, and they're all pretty cool designs, I'll give them that. And say you want to make a website about pickles. Look, oh, there we go. There's a pickle website. You can literally open this up, change the names. There you go. You have a pickle website. So I decided to make a website of my own for bill making stuff. Now, I've made plenty of websites in the past, and I have to say that Squarespace is the easiest and most intuitive website builder I've ever used. It's so easy to get great effect. I mean, look at this. This took me like 5 minutes. So if you want to make a website, click on the link down below. There is a sale going on. There you go. And thank you, sponsor, for sponsoring this video. How would we do this without you? I mean, we could, but we'd probably just have to eat baked beans every day. So if you were to make some alien insects, what would you use? Probably green stuff, clay, you know, things like that. No, I'm going to use EVA foam. Basically, I got like 300 sheets of this for like £2. It's so cheap. There's got to be more uses for it, so that's kind of what I want to do. And here's betting I could probably make all the insects with just this one brown sheet. Of course, we need kind of armatures and skeletons. I'm thinking beads and wire, obviously. So like always, I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do this. I figured, you know, if I make some armor plated bugs, I need some armor plates. So one of my favorite recent discoveries is if you super glue this foam and then pinch it, you kind of create a ridge. And then I just kind of layered the plates on, starting from the back, going to the front. I did the other way around first, which is why you can see some foam residue on the front there. But yeah, always start from the back and go to the front. I mean, depending on what effect you want to do. I'm pretty sure I'd change that up later. Oh, isn't it cute? Look at him. So getting out my bits box, I'm going to use some rhinestone gems as eyeballs because they look like little bug eyes, don't they? Anyone who watches my show usually will see that I use a lot of these beads and little gems, and I have to dip them in the glue and then stick them on the build. So I made a tool. I made this little drawing pin that's in kind of an old craft knife handle, and it kind of works. You just stick it into the bead and stick it on the thing. You know, the thing. So insect legs are going to be pretty easy. I think I'm just going to use this black wire. Another added bonus to using half a bead to build these things is you've got this little ridge under here where you can kind of safely glue things out of the way and it still lies flat on the table. So that was a result. Yeah, I know the first build is essentially a baby but it is a Nausicaa style themed inspired build, whatever. So because I'm kind of experimenting, I wanted to try and make that bug again, but with shallower ridges and a pointy snout. So of course, the second bug looks a lot better than my first bug, but that's how getting better at something works. So I've done a few short fat bugs. I want to do a few long bugs, and I'm going to need more beads. So people seem to think I'm obsessed with beads. It's not true. They just are one of the most useful things in my scratch building arsenal. I'm surely I've proved this by now. Look at that. There's my bug armature. So usually in an entomology frame they would cluster all the insects together from the same family, from the same species, which is why all of my insects kind of look like this. Not because I didn't know how to do anything else, it's just, you know, science. And that is some super glue activator there, just in case you're wondering. I should probably explain what I'm doing on screen. Sometimes, you know, it would be nice being commentary as it is. So, as I'm making a video, I always keep my patrons updated with what I'm doing. You know, I give like kind of daily updates on the builds, etc, etc. Join Patreon down below. And this week, I asked them to name my insects, because I'm really bad at naming things. And I said, you know, come up with some Latin names, funny names, and whatever names I decide to use for the bugs, your name, you, the patron, your name can be the discoverer of Z insect. I'll write it down on the label, you'll see later. Thank you very much, patrons. Isn't it great being a patron, patrons? I'm talking to the patrons, not the regular viewer. Yeah, they're nodding, they love it. Thanks, patrons. Anyway, let's... So I found this tool in the Works, which is another cheap kind of craft shop in the UK, and it's a pyrography tool, and it comes with all these heads, and basically it's just a hot pointy thing that you can use to melt foam. Look, just like that. I actually have 4 exclamation marks on my birth certificate, in case you're wondering. So I wanted to give this tool a proper test and see how well it does with texturing. Now, as I said earlier, it comes with all these different heads and they all create different textures. And I have to say, I'm really impressed. It looks really good. And unlike clay, it won't crumble into 1,000 pieces when it's dry. So using the round tip of this tool, I kind of beat this insect into textured submission. Actually created a really interesting panel beaten metal kind of texture. It's a cool effect that I'll probably use in the future for some other builds. So I want to try and make some insect wings, and I don't really know how to do it, but I have a lot of this transparent packaging, I'm sure everyone does, and let's try and make something. So to carve all the little veiny lines in the wing, I kind of pushed down on the knife, not too hard, you know, I kind of just half cut into it. And to finish it off, I kind of just squeezed it together like that, so all of the little ridges were kind of facing different directions. You get that kind of insect wing effect. So during a live stream I was doodling in my sketchbook, and I kept coming up with this bug design, which was basically like a super mosquito with a giant nose that would sort of shoot straight through your flesh and drink the bone marrow from your bones. Yeah, it's not very nice, but I wanted to make that because it kept coming up. It's always a good idea to dry fit your insect wings on your insect. I'm sure God said that at some point. And there we have my mega mosquito thing. I know, we come up with names later. So off camera, I made these 2 little bugs to fill my frame using the exact same techniques I used earlier. And then it was time to arrange them in the frame. Time to paint. Now, today is a special day, not for me. Maybe for those airbrush enthusiasts that want me to airbrush something. I don't know why you want me to do it, because I'm probably just going to do it completely wrong, and you'll tell me about it in the comments down below. And I'll probably heart it anyway, because I don't want it to stay up there on my notifications forever. So yeah, today I use an airbrush. I used an airbrush years ago, and I wasn't very good at it. Someone kindly bought me an airbrush kit off my Amazon wish list, link down below. So I'm going to use it. I don't know how to use it. I'm just going to work it out. Anyway, consider this a warning. I did warn you. I'll probably just dry brush everything in the end anyway, so, and cover it in oil wash. So this is the airbrush that someone kindly bought me. Now, if someone didn't buy me this, I probably would never ever use one. And someone else kindly bought me these Model Air colours. I believe they're airbrush paints. Let's give this a little go. Now, obviously, you should be wearing some kind of mask for this because it parks. So let's try and airbrush some bugs. Yeah, I mean, that was slightly embarrassing. Yeah, and I kind of stained my fingers for a few days, but look, I eventually realised I should clamp it in place like this. So I sprayed it one side with a blue, and I kind of came from the other side with a green to try and create an effect. Whether it works or not, I don't know, because they're just big sloppy messes at the moment, but we'll see. If anything, I see it as a real kind of useful way of coating something in one colour really quickly and easily. But I haven't cleaned the airbrush yet, so let's see how that goes. I've always wanted to do this. To clean these silicone mats, use a bit of isopropyl alcohol and it just comes straight off. So, that's enough of the airbrush. It's time for some dry brush. I actually went out my way to buy some pearlescent paint the other day because I figured, you know, bugs, they look kind of pearlescent. So I thought I'd try it on this little one that I don't really like that much. But yeah, you know, experimentation. So all that's left is to paint the eyes. Now I like to go kind of complementary colours to the rest of it with the eyes, like green and red, and you know, red and green. And yellow and red. No, it's not really complement. Whatever, you know, like they just need to kind of stand out a bit. Okay, color science. So here is some brown oil wash. It's oil paint mixed with white spirit or mineral spirits, and I managed to store it in a jar, and it's been there for a while. It usually evaporates in most containers, but it seems to have held in here. Now you may be thinking, Bill, why are you making that big dirty mess on the table again? You said you'd never speak of that. But basically, I like to cover all my insects in a brown wash, so they all kind of look like they're from the same place. It mutes all their colours and makes them look unified. Like they're all from the same colour palette. You know, that colour palette, brown. So as I explained earlier, I asked my patrons to name the bugs, and these are the little tags that I printed off my computer. This first one is Vermis agricola, the tiller worm, discovery by J. Jacobs. And the next one is Cataphractatus vermis, the armoured worm, discovered by S. Bevan. What a name. This one is Avarus lapiden commidentis, greedy stone eater, by A. Blake. Who thought reading Latin names would be tricky? This one is Repens bulbus, the creeping bulb, discovered by C. Errington. And we have the Mordens bastardis, the bitey bastard, discovered by K. Elliott. And we have my favourite Medulla putata, the marrow sucker, discovered by J. Weir. So I had to put the glass in after I shot the Glamour Shots, which you're going to see in a minute, because as anyone knows who films anything, shooting glass is a pain. Look, look, whoa, look at that. Oh, where's the bugs gone? There's just a big lot. It's a pain. Anyway, I think it's quite nice. It's quite good. Every week I just say, I think I quite like it. It's quite nice. I really like the idea of adding the patrons' names at the bottom. I hope they enjoy that. And I like the names. I know exactly where this is going to go. But anyway, stick around for the Glamour Shots, and I'll see you next time. So there we are. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know it's a bit of a strange build, but I consider my channel about creativity and making crap from crap, not necessarily just scratch building and terrain building. If you enjoyed this, comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and yeah, I'm just going to go stick this up in its rightful place.